Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Leslie Greer from Entertainment Fanatic Reviews, back with another review, and today I am talking about Scooby Doo Return to Zombie Island, which, growing up, I've always wanted a sequel to Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, but is this the sequel we deserve? Find out. So, as always, I talk about the plot, story, and direction first. One thing that sort of disappoints me about this film is that, in the first film you had Terror Time, again, which was a really good song, or at least it's very memorable and nostalgic listening to it. But with this film, you don't have that type of song. You have like a decent score in there, but you don't have that song that's like, oh my god, yeah, that song was in that Scooby Doo film. I don't know, it just doesn't have that type of song, which disappointed me, but I don't know, what can you do? And also, I thought it was really clever how they brought back the gang to Zombie Island. I mean, I'm not going to completely spoil it, but you do get a certain cameo by someone really well known in the horror community, which I will show a pic, but that's all I'm going to show. Once they get to the island, I'm like, how are they going to do the first film justice? And I will say the twist in the middle of the film, it makes sense, but I don't know, it could have been a hell of a lot better. It sort of caught me off guard because it's not the type of story you'd expect in a Scooby-Doo Zombie Island type film. I'm not going to spoil it because I went into this film knowing pretty much nothing except like little bits of a trailer, but even then, like, I didn't even know that this film was coming out until like a week before Walmart had it, and they had it a week before everyone else had it, so I'm thinking it was a Walmart exclusive or something like that, but I don't know how I didn't know about this film sooner. And it sort of makes sense now. But yeah, like I was talking about with the score, it sort of reminds me of something in the original Child's Play, or at least in Cult of Chucky. It was a nice score, and leading up to the twist, everything felt so nostalgic, but you understand why. But I'm not going to get into that. So for plot, story, and direction, I'm going to give it a very light 3.5 out of 5. With that said, onto the animation, which I think the animation here is like a very big highlight to this film, because if it's one thing that this film has over the original, it's the animation. And I'm not shitting on the original Zombie Island animation because that went well with its time, but this one really does go well with its time. Like the most recent Scooby Doo show, it's a different animation style and it just does not suit the Scooby Doo series, but this one, it's more of a like up-to-date version to the original series animation, but it still keeps it fresh and new, which I thought was really cool. But if there's something I have to complain about, it's the zombies in here, or zombies. You gotta find out about that. So that's as much as I'm gonna say on that, but the zombies are a big letdown because the zombies in the original terrified me growing up, and they still are a bit creepy, but these aren't creepy at all, but you see why. So with that said, I'm going to give the animation a 4.5 out of 5. And so onto the acting. Everyone does a great job no matter what role it is. Like even the side characters have a moment to shine, and the main cast has, time to shine, which I think I said in the last review, but everyone does their job justice. And my favorite part about this film, other than the animation, is that we get Matthew Lillard back as Shaggy, which I thought was pretty gnarly because I thought he was the perfect cast for like a live action Shaggy, and then it was nice hearing him lend his voice for this Shaggy, and I don't know, I just couldn't help but think of the live action Shaggy in here. Like, I don't know, just hearing that voice, I thought it was really cool. I know he's done the voice multiple times throughout some of the series and some of the animated films, but this is the first time in a long time I've heard him do the voice of Shaggy, and I thought that was really cool. The first Zombie Island and multiple of the late 90s and early 2000s Scooby-Doo animated films has none other than Mark Hamill, which I wish he returned to do some type of voice in here because he's capable of doing like dozens of voices, if not hundreds. But for acting, I'm going to give it a 4.25 out of 5. And so onto the ending and finale. It's sort of anticlimactic, and it also leaves you with another mystery within this mystery, and it just leaves more questions to be asked. But it is really nice to see the gang back together and with this animation style. I'm not going to go into the ending and finale because I don't want to spoil it. But I do want to say that it's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst. Because I don't want to spoil it because this is pretty much a new release. It came out like half a year ago, which is new to me. But yeah, it's the first Scooby Doo thing that I've watched in years. So like I didn't want to be spoiled with it, and I don't want to spoil you guys. I'm gonna be nice and give it like a 3.25 out of 5. And so with that said, on to the main question: would I watch it again? Honestly, yes. But I would much rather watch the original Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. With this one, it answers some things, but then it makes you question more things, and it's not the answer that you wanted. So, I don't know. It was really nice seeing the characters back together, but I'd much rather watch the first one. And I think everyone else that has watched this can agree with me on that. But I'm not saying it's a bad film, because it's not, but it's definitely not great either. So, with that said, I'm going to say that Scooby Doo Return to Zombie Island is a background movie. And I feel like this film was aimed more to kids than the original, because the original had a lot more dark tones and this one barely had any, if any at all. But anyways, just remember that during these tough times, you're always somebody's reason to smile, and think positive.